Hello, welcome to my channel. Today, we're going to talk about a somewhat liberating topic, arguing. Note that we're talking about real arguing, not fake arguing. Many books now, when they mention arguing, like to elevate it to a matter of value. In the end, it's about loving peace, the world, and oneself. For example, a popular book a couple of years ago was called How to Argue Properly. The book is good, but what it actually talks about is not arguing, but rather methods for establishing intimate relationships. However, today, we won't be making any topic transformations. What we will discuss is hard-hitting arguing, based on big data from scientific methods. Not long ago, a media outlet published a very interesting report on a survey about young people's arguments. Although the title seems playful, the research method is very rigorous. There is an interest group on a social media platform called Didn't Argue Well, with 360,000 members. The media outlet analyzed 18,000 posts and comments to create this report. Of course, we're not reading this report to learn how to argue, but rather, we can use it as a way to understand the emotions of contemporary young people. Let's see what everyone is most sensitive about. This can help you better interact with others. Let's get straight to the point. From this survey, I've gleaned 4 key questions. First, what are the things that young people are most likely to argue about? Pay attention, here comes the key point. The most sensitive topic ranked first is marriage and betrothal gifts. Its arguing heat index is 100, which is the highest score. The heat index is a relative indicator, with the most frequently occurring topic being 100. Based on that, scores are assigned to other words. Ranked second is personal attacks and insults, with a heat index of 85.2, which is understandable. Surprisingly, the third most contentious topic is joking, with a heat index of 84.9, which is even higher than sexual harassment, cutting in line, and infidelity. The jokes referred to here are those without boundaries and with a hint of mockery. For example, you've gained weight recently. Are you pregnant? The report analyzes that this might be because such jokes are particularly annoying. You obviously feel uncomfortable listening to them, but after all, the other person is joking, and if you refute them directly, you may seem intolerant. As a result, the more you think about it, the more suffocated you feel. And finally, an argument ensues. There are also several reasons for arguing that I'll briefly mention here. For example, moral kidnapping, discussing exam failures, male chauvinism, or having a strong dad vibe, especially the last one. A strong dad vibe is one of the triggers for young people to argue nowadays. In other words, don't preach to young people all the time. Second, in what situations are arguments most likely to occur? Ranked first is playing games, with an arguing heat index of 100. A single misoperation can lead to a barrage of greetings from teammates. Ranked second is waiting in line, with an arguing heat index of 68.7, such as when the line moves too slowly, or someone cuts in line. Surprisingly, the third most argument-prone situation is during the Lunar New Year, with a heat index of 37.6. This might be because when you go home for the New Year, it's especially easy to discuss some heart-wrenching issues, like when are you getting married? When are you having children? Have you bought a car or a house? Following the New Year are blind dates, home renovations, job interviews, and walking dogs. Third, under what circumstances are arguments most likely to be lost? Let's first look at who we are most likely to lose an argument with. Friends, mothers, and boyfriends. These are the top 3. In other words, you're more likely to lose an argument when facing someone you're close to. Property management, landlords, coaches, and neighbors score less than 10 points, so the chances of winning are still quite high. There is also an interesting piece of data here. When women face their boyfriends, their argument loss index is 48.6. When men face their girlfriends, their argument loss index is only 11.4. In other words, in most cases of couples arguing, men feel they have won the argument, at least based on this data. So what are the main reasons for losing an argument? Ranked first is having a personality that's not suited for arguing, not knowing what to say when confronted. Ranked second is a lack of experience. Both of these are easy to understand. From the third place onwards, the reasons become quite diverse, such as crying first during an argument and losing because of it, or the atmosphere not being right, and so on. So what should you do when faced with an argument? This brings us to the 4th key point of the report, how to deal with arguments. Note that the following is not based on speculation but on the real experiences of 360,000 people. First, consider the necessity of arguing. Most people believe that it's necessary to argue when defending one's rights or encountering bullies. If the other person is making a scene, the necessity isn't as strong. Second, clarify the purpose of the argument. Here, The vast majority of people are very rational, believing that the ultimate goal of arguing is to solve problems, not to vent anger. Finally, master the countermeasures for arguing. Most people's chosen countermeasures are to fight back directly. Other countermeasures include reasoning, smiling, negotiating, and so on. Alright, that's all we'll cover about the report for now. I know deep down, no one really wants to argue with others. However, sometimes when we hear something uncomfortable, we can't help but respond. What should we do? Many people have shared the template for nonviolent communication before, which involves listening to the other person, understanding our own inner desires, and then expressing our needs. But today, I want to take a different approach. I want to share a more fun tool with you. This is the simplest and most direct method I've seen in books on arguing, coming from a Japanese communication expert named Mori Yuko. She wrote a book specifically about this, called Arguing Without Making the Most of It, which was just published in Chinese last year. It contains a very concise set of witty comebacks that will not only make you feel good but also make you look clever. Let me give you some examples. If someone says, "You look so old and big," you can reply, "Well, my heart is big too." If someone says, "Your smile is so ugly," you can reply, "Would you like to see what I look like when I'm angry?" If someone says, "You must look very ordinary without makeup," you can reply, "I'm not wearing makeup right now." If someone says, "Don't you think your face is big?" you can reply, "Why don't you measure it with a ruler?" If someone asks, "How old are you?" you can reply, "Why are you so concerned about me?" If someone says, "You seem simple-minded and worry-free," you can reply, "I have so many worries." It doesn't matter for this moment if someone says, "You look petty and vengeful," you can reply, "Didn't expect that, I'm not like that, huh?" If someone says, "It seems like you'll never get married in this lifetime," you can reply, "Are you a fortune teller?" If someone says, "You're too sensitive," you can reply, "It's called being emotionally delicate." If someone says, "I have no expectations for you," you can reply, "You're really doing me a huge favor then." Finally, I want to share a true story. A couple of years ago, I talked to a classmate who worked part-time in a community and was good at mediating marital conflicts. The first step in her method was to provoke the couple into an argument. She told me that sometimes, arguing isn't scary. When a relationship reaches a deadlock, and there's nothing left to argue about, that's when it becomes troublesome. Perhaps the first step to restarting a relationship is to have an argument. Of course, during the process, she would also mediate on the spot. This is somewhat like the saying, "There are cracks in everything. That's how the light gets in." Sometimes when a relationship is stuck, having an argument, creating a crack, might just offer a chance for change. Alright, that's today's video. Feel free to subscribe and share. See you next time.